Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today, bit of a comedy, bit of a how to deal with a situation video, which is how to deal with like people asking what's wrong with your legs or like what your disability is when you don't feel comfortable to answer that question. Now, I'm pretty open about it, and if someone asks, I'll tell them what happened. But there's a lot of people out there that just feel like it isn't another person's business unless it's like a carer or something, and prefer to not answer the question. So, in today's video, I shall be your saviour, and I will tell you some of the best things to say if you don't want to answer a question related to your disability. So, an example of a question that you may want to avoid answering is, you know, why are you in a wheelchair? Or like, why do your legs not work? So, what I like to say is, oh, I broke my hand. Always get some funny reactions, you know? They always seem a little bit confused. And I think it's a natural thing, you know? I would be pretty confused if someone told me that they broke their hand and ended up in a wheelchair, especially if they haven't got cast, you know? Or, you know, I think the absolute best thing that you can say, and I recommend everyone says this, is start out as a 7-day free trial and I forgot to cancel it, so I'm just kind of stuck with it, you know? I think that had the best reaction. Thing is that when you're telling someone that you don't want to answer a question, and this is kind of going into some actual useful advice, is you don't want to make them seem like a dick for asking. At least I don't want to. You know, you guys may be twisted and want to make people feel bad about themselves, but I think the goal is to try and play off that you don't want to answer the question, um, without just outright saying, you know. So turning it into a joke is a good way, at least that I found. But if they continue to ask, obviously you can just say, look, I don't feel comfortable answering. If they continue to harass you after doing, want to try and just diffuse the situation, um, without seeming like you're trying to keep things secret or something. You know, like that's not the goal. We're not trying to just piss someone off. Um, Another fun thing to say, you know, is if they ask if your penis works, just say, I don't know, ask your mum. Gotta love a your mum joke. Your mum jokes just solve every situation. There's a single situation out there that isn't solved with a your mum joke. Let me know if I'm wrong. Sorry that I keep on moving. I just like messing around with the camera, by the way. It's just a fun thing to do. I don't know why. I'm just a child. I like using the thing how it's designed. um, so yeah, you know, your mum joke, you know, maybe if you, depending on how well you know the person, you know, you could say, just in reference to the if why your legs don't work, say, oh well, last night when I was doing your mum, she sat on them accidentally and broke them. But again, it's a bit of a iffy one, you know. I probably wouldn't say it to just a stranger that's asking. Maybe one of your friends, you know, have a joke with them. A lot of these do involve you just thinking about who you're saying it to. Now, obviously, I'm sure you guys have your own ones, and this is the best one that I've heard from someone. So when one of my friends were asked, you know, or someone that I know was asked, they were a tetraplegic, you know, in a power chair, in an electric chair. So when they were asked why they were in the wheelchair, they just simply said, "Oh yeah, I'm not disabled. It's an act." Now, for those of you that may not appreciate that joke, a lot of people in the world will see people that can walk in like manual wheelchairs, like I've got. They'll see them walking around, or like reach up for something in a shop, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, you're not really disabled. You're just faking it." Which obviously isn't the case for a lot of people, including myself. It's just a lot easier to use the wheelchair, and it's still safer to use the wheelchair. So I absolutely love that one, just simply because it's kind of like a fuck you to those people, but obviously it was meant as a joke. So, for anyone that's blind, I've obviously met a fair few disabled people, probably more than the average person, but I had someone that was blind. So when they were asked what was wrong with them, they were like, "Huh? What? I'm deaf." I just thought it was funny considering the situation. And that's kind of the same with a lot of these, is just thinking about the situation that you're in. I didn't mean for this to be such an educational video. But you know what? We'll get into a bit of a teaching moment, So when someone asks about your disability, they usually are just asking about like things that they don't know. So it's more just like they're curious or they want to learn more about disability. Obviously, there are a couple of arseholes out there that are just doing it to be annoying, but I've never met one. I've met one actually, but obviously, just depending on the situation, depends on if you want to go for a more like firm, no, I don't want to tell you, or a more joking, playful, try and de-escalate the situation kind of thing, because you're not trying to cause arguments, you're just trying to be like, I don't feel comfortable answering it. Yeah. So I feel a lot of these, there's a lot of questions that you'd be asked, like, what's a spasm? I don't really have one for that, like, if someone says, what's a spasm? But then again, I've never really thought about what I'd say about that, so just thinking off the top of my head, just what's a spasm? Oh yeah, it's a kind of soup. Just say something random, just make a joke about it. Obviously, that may not make much sense if that's the first question that they're asking, because usually it would be like talking about disability, and then you say, oh yeah, it causes spasms, and they're like, oh, what's a spasm? Oh yeah, it's kind of soup. Random as fuck. They may now be very confused. So definitely don't say it to someone that obviously try and play it off as a joke. You don't want to actually make them think that a spasm is a soup, because that would be miseducating, and that's obviously not what you should try and do. You should, at least in my opinion, you should try and don't make them less educated. Just try and make the person asking either stop asking you, or if you're happy to answer the question, answer the question. But I feel like that's it for this video. That it was meant to be just a funny video, but it didn't turn out that way. So this video wasn't meant to be as educational as it was more just meant to be a funny thing, but I feel like this has been kind of educational. Like, these are good ways to deal with the situation, because you're not trying to miseducate people, you're just trying to either make them stop asking, send across the message that you're not happy to answer, or or just say, I don't feel happy to answer. But yeah, I don't really know what to title this video now, because it was just meant to be jokes, but it turned out to be actually useful. Cool, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.